going to record. Great. Okay, here we go. I will say, please feel free to drop questions into the chat. I am going to more or less reserve questions for the end, just to make sure we get through all the information. But please don't hesitate to keep track of them in the chat or otherwise, all right? So here we go. Again, this is the Beyond Barnard Internship Program. I'm Stephanie. We've introduced Greg, so we'll just get right into the meat of it. So today we're going to be talking generally about the details. I'm going to give you a program overview of what Beyond Barnard Internship Program, or BBIP or BBIP, if you'd like. Details, the benefits are, what makes you eligible, what makes you ineligible, and what the requirements are for the program as a whole. We'll talk about the application, general suggestions on how to fill it out, what the requirements are there as well. We'll discuss important dates when the application opens. It's actually today. It's been open since 9 a.m. Deadlines, that sort of thing. We'll get through that as well. And, oops, excuse me. We'll walk through some of the important, suggestions that we have when it comes to filling out the application. So first things first, here we are with the overview. BBIP or BBIP is Barnard's flagship and largest year-round funded internship program. So what does that mean? It means that you, the student, find an internship that you're super excited about, that you can't wait to pursue because it really helps promote your career, intellectual, professional, academic growth, and you would like to intern with this organization. But they're not able to pay their interns, or they're only able to compensate their interns in a minimal way. So you come to us here at Beyond Barnard Internship Program, and we offer you support so that you can pursue this internship. That support comes in the form of financial funding, as well as a lot of other kinds of professional and developmental support that we'll talk about later. So unpaid or low pay or minimally compensated internships are what qualify for BBIP. And that's an important factor, and it's something that we'll mention several times throughout this info session. What's great about this flagship program is that it's our most generalized one. We offer support for students across all majors, all career paths, professional interests, all fields. The intention here is not to attract or offer funding or support to students in certain kinds of fields. You come to us with, sorry, admitting some more folks. You come to us with the internship opportunities that you're excited about. And if you're accepted into BBIP, right, then you'll be eligible and you'll be able to receive the support that goes along with it. The other main characteristic to keep in mind is that the internship must comprise 65 hours during the fall semester. The way that 65 hours is divvied up across days or weeks is something you determine with your internship supervisor, but the 65 hours is kind of the total that we're looking for there between when the internship starts and when it ends. Some of the benefits that you'll get with BBIP. Support while you explore your interests. Can we ensure that we're all on mute? If you could do that real quick. Thanks everybody. So support while you explore academic and or professional interests. So again, the idea is that you find an internship that really speaks to what it is that you want to do while you're at Barnard. Because of a class you took, because of other professional experience that you've had, because of the way you're interested and becoming engaged with your community. You find that opportunity, you come to us, you apply for BBIP, and if you get accepted, what do you get? You get a $1,000 stipend for the fall semester. So we're providing that funding to help you pursue that internship that would otherwise be unpaid or low pay. In addition to that stipend, you're also getting dedicated programming from us here at Beyond Barnard, which includes workshops, the professional development series. We'll talk about briefly the topics or TBD. Check-ins with me and with other staff here at Beyond Barnard about your internship experience, whether it's concerns, questions, excitement, that sort of thing. And another really great feature are our alum roundtable discussions. So we'll bring in former BBIP recipients, and they'll share with you the ways in which they feel their internships promoted their interest in a certain path or diverted their interest to another path. They can talk to you about what it was like to get professional experience in a new kind of environment that's outside the classroom, that sort of thing. So there's the stipend, there's all this programming we provide, and then you're also getting this really incredible community of fellow interns. There will be many, many of you that pursue this program, and it's a really great sort of repertoire of folks to be in touch with who have been through the same program. So eligibility here. BBIP is for those that are currently enrolled sophomore, juniors, and seniors. So if you are a first-year student and you're on this call, thank you for coming. We love that you're here, but BBIP is not available for first-year students. We want the first-year students, right, to spend some time going to class and getting a handle on things before they jump with 2 feet into an internship. That said, please stay, please absorb all the information if you are a first year, and know that this is something that you can pursue as you're going into your second year. If you're an international student, you're absolutely eligible for this. We welcome you to apply. You just need your social security number, the verification form that comes with it, and you need to have secured CPT, which you can do with the international office. We will say that our goal here in terms of equity is to ensure that everyone gets access to an internship if they are accepted to BBIP. So if you are a student that has been awarded grants through BBIP multiple years before, it's likely that we might favor a first-time applicant. That doesn't mean to say you won't be eligible. It's just to demonstrate that there is a little bit of a lower priority for someone that's been awarded multiple times before because they've just had more opportunity because they've been here longer. So we very much welcome first-time applicants to come to us. Any kind of internship, remote, in-person, or hybrid is welcome. Again, we are not there to determine the kind of internship that you're going to have, right? That's something that you come to us with. So any format that is determined by you and your internship supervisor is okay with us. And I think a really important sticking point here as well is that you don't need to have secured an internship at the time that you apply. So if you have a sense of an organization you're really excited about, and maybe you've spoken to someone there about interning, but it's not totally set in stone yet, that is okay. Please still apply for BBIP. If and when you are accepted, then you will need to confirm the internship within 8 days of your acceptance to the program, so that we know for sure this is something that is moving forward. And there will be some paperwork that accompanies that. We'll talk about that shortly, but we don't want you to feel wary of applying to BBIP just because you don't have something in writing yet. You do have to have a sense of what you're interested and why and details about it, but it's okay if it's not set in stone. So what makes you ineligible? A big one here is any kind of research work that takes place at Columbia or Barnard. So no on-campus positions. This BBIP is meant to be a way for you to pursue work in a community that you're interested off campus. So nothing here at Barnard or at Columbia. Any work with political campaigning, religious centers, or organizations that proselytize are also ineligible. You could still certainly have an internship at a place like the Clinton Foundation, right? That was founded by politicians. It's not to say that sort of stuff is off limits, but you can't be actively working on a political campaign. Similarly to performing any kind of work that is at Columbia or Barnard, any work with student organizations here on campus, service trips that are affiliated with student organizations, or any other kind of trip that might require individual fundraising or a payment from you in order to participate, those are ineligible. Again, the organizations that we're looking for here are those that are not able to pay or minimally compensate their interns because they love you and they love to work with you. They just don't have the budget for it. So what are the requirements here to apply? Again, you have to know that the total of 65 hours is something that you will need to commit for the semester between the time the internship starts and when it ends. The internship date, start date, is something that you will work out with your internship supervisor. So it might vary. It's going to vary for those of you that are here, but you have to know that 65 hours is something that you can commit. And again, the way that those 65 hours are divvied up depends on the schedule that you develop with your supervisor. We're not going to be checking in with you on a daily basis to ensure that you've completed your hours. We trust you, and we trust the agreement that you've made with your internship supervisor to make that happen. And again, I've said this many times, but just to make sure that it's something that we're all on the same page about, when you're applying, you're coming to us with that internship description and details. Ensure that it is either unpaid or minimally compensated, because that is what makes the internship eligible to be supported by BBIP. So once you are accepted to BBIP, what happens next? Hopefully you will have started or you will begin your internship, and we're super excited for you. In order to ensure that everything is on the up and up with us here at Beyond Barnard, you'll have to complete a few dockets of paperwork. Nothing too complicated, but we do require that this sort of thing comes in as soon as you can make it happen. The first thing is a program agreement, and that is an agreement that you take to your internship supervisor that goes over the details of the internship, goals, expectations, clear laying out of what your position is at the organization or company, and what you expect from the employer as well, or from your internship supervisor, I should say. There's also language in there that details our responsibility and what Beyond Barnard will contribute to this in terms of supportive programming and the stipend. And that's something that will need to be signed by both you and your internship supervisor. After the program agreements are signed and brought back to us, because BBIP is an entirely donor-supported program, we're very grateful for that. We do ask and require that our BBIP recipients write a thank you letter to the donor, just to say, I really appreciate this opportunity that I had. So the program agreement and the thank you letter are two things that will have to happen within the first couple of weeks of you beginning the internship. After paperwork, as I mentioned, there's a couple of different ways that we'd like for you to participate in the supportive programming. There's Beyond Barnard events, BBIP related and otherwise. And as I said, I will be available to you and some other staff for this sort of check-in and chat that I'll have in the office, in the library, in the Beyond Barnard office, where you can come to me with any kind of concerns, questions, or otherwise about what's happening. Okay. This is a big note, something that we want to make sure that you're aware of, that if these requirements that I've just mentioned, the program agreement, the thank you note, the 65 hours, if those requirements aren't met, it means you will be ineligible to receive funding in the subsequent program cycle. We are here to work with you every step along the way to make sure that you get everything in that you need to. You will hear from me a lot, and I will be here to answer your questions, Greg as well. But we do want to communicate clearly that these requirements need to be met, and if not, it will make it more difficult for you to be a successful applicant to BBIP in the future. So good news, as I said at the very beginning, the BBIP application is now open as of this morning. So today, September 7th at 9 a.m., you've been able to apply. The application deadline is a few weeks from now, so you've got some time. You know, the semester just started. You're getting your ducks in a row. It makes sense you need a little bit of time to put an application together. So Friday, September 29th at noon is the deadline that we're looking for. The BBIP committee will meet and will review applications, and we'll let you know beginning on October 10th whether or not you've been accepted. The deadline for you to accept or decline the BBIP internship is Wednesday, October 18th, again at 12 noon. And we start things off in a fury, and we'll have orientation that immediately the next day on October 19th. Now it's just to give you more detailed information about how to talk to your internship supervisor, the program agreement, other kinds of expectations that are just, you know, more detailed than we're offering right now. So again, the application is already open. It's due by September 29th. We'll be in touch with you starting on October 10th. You let us know by October 18th, and we'll have orientation on October 19th. Okay, so some basics here about what we're expecting in the actual application. You need to have the organization name. Again, you don't need to have secured the internship, but you need to know where it is that you want to intern and have some information about them. Again, the approximate start and end dates, if you don't know 100% for sure, that's okay. And you have to know that between those start and end dates, 65 hours is what you need to commit. If there's any compensation if you know, for example, already that the organization where you want to intern can pay for your Metro card, that's something that you have to report to us. It could be monetary. Maybe they're able to offer you a little bit of a lunch stipend or something like that. Regardless of what it is, you'll report it there to us. And then after that, give us a sense of what the organization is. What is their mission? Why are you interested in working there? Describe the internship responsibilities, what makes you excited to be an intern there. So that first part of the application is more or less pretty straightforward information about the organization itself and what you expect the internship to look like. After that, the two uploads, your cover letter and a resume. So first, with regard to the cover letter, we want to ensure that it is a letter for BBIP and not for the internship itself. Depending on what the internship is, you may very well, and it's very likely, you would also write a cover letter for the internship. But that is not what we're interested in. This is a different kind, right, of opportunity that you're applying for than the actual internship. This is the application for support. So ensure that you have written the cover letter to us, and in it, explained why we should fund you. Why should we offer you the stipend and all this wonderful supportive programming in order for you to pursue this internship? So we just want to be sure that the cover letters there are of different ilks. Then the resume, of course, like any resume you're sending to any kind of job, ensure that it's really excellent, good content, the formatting is good, free of typos, that sort of thing. And we highly encourage you to have it reviewed by one of our PCAs, our peer career advisors here in the office. You can make appointments are available and open with them, I think, already on Handshake. They're a wonderful resource, and I love helping other students. We're very supportive of BBIP applicants going to a PCA. So cover letter, resume, and then the basic information about the internship organization is what will need to be on the application. So what else are you getting besides funding from us? Weekly communication from us, Instagram takeovers. Some of you who are really excited about your internships, we might tap you to take over our Instagram, and you'll be able to work with our comms team on how to do that. Again, I've mentioned it, check-in and chats with me and other staff, right, to voice any concerns or offer questions or just meet with us in person. These alum conversations, these roundtables with former BBIP participants, I think in particular throughout career exploration and growth, it's really, really great to be able to talk with folks who've been in a similar position as you and who are interested in sharing with you what they've learned along the way. Sometimes you pursue an internship and you find out you might want to pivot and move in a different direction. And it can be really great to talk to people who have done a similar kind of thing. And lastly, we'll have these professional development sessions and workshops where we'll bring in folks to talk about different kinds of ways to be a professional in a new kind of workplace, right? You've been a student for so many years, and that's something that you're just absolutely excel in. And now being in a professional environment where you have to learn about your professional self, how to network, how to be your authentic self in a workplace, all of that. Those are examples of the kinds of topics that we've promoted in the past. The topics are still TBD at this point, but it's a really great resource and something that will happen more than once this fall semester. You'll have several opportunities to access our professional development series. Okay, so I see there are some questions in the chat. I'm going to look at those briefly here, but before I do that, I'll ask Greg to see if there's anything that he wants to add.
I'm sorry, no. I know I will help you. Help if I was on mute. I will answer some questions as we go. Please free to ask. I do see one question. The first one, it says, when do we begin logging our hours? Well, again, I think as Stephanie let you know, this isn't it's not a salary, it's a stipend. And when you do the program agreement and you send it to your employer and sign it, we're effectively acknowledging or asking the employer to acknowledge that you will be working the 65 hours over a semester, but you're not checking in, you're not time clocking, and you're not adding your hours to workday. So that should answer that. And what if we start before the start of the BBIP program? That's fine. Some students would have already just started or might start in the middle of September. They're still eligible to apply for the program, but they also understand that if they don't get the stipend, they may still want to work as an unpaid intern. So you can start before, certainly not back in July or June or last summer, but if it's within the context of the fall, you can have started an internship.
And I think that drives home to what you were saying about it being a stipend program, and there's no hours that are logged because it is 65 total hours, and that can vary. Some students might start their internship October 15th, some might start October 30th. So it's up to you and your internship supervisor to get that 65 hours in there, however that happens. And the way that those hours are tracked is again determined by you and your internship supervisor. So it's the fair amount of autonomy and trust here, right, between us and you and your internship organization. Can international students use BBIP for virtual internships from non-US organizations? Yes. Short answer.
And then when is the stipend issued? Generally for the fall and spring, there are 2 payments, not one. It kind of helps you, not as much of an issue in the fall and the spring for taxes, because you will pay tax on this. And that's interesting to know if it's for the summer, because it's a larger stipend. And any grant program, though, even though it is a grant and it's a stipend, you will pay tax. You have federal withholding, you have a W-9, all of that is certainly part of the deduction that we don't do. That's just the way taxes is. But for the fall and spring, 2 payments, Jim.
Someone has asked here for the application, and I'm very happy to drop that in the chat here momentarily. And in terms of eligibility and whether or not you've received the BBIP before, if you are really concerned about wanting to ensure that you get an internship next spring and are worried about applying for this fall, just go ahead and apply. You can communicate that concern to us if you want, but don't worry about trying to gamify this process. Just apply, tell us what you're excited about, and we'll be able to move forward from there. Oh, thanks, Greg. There's the application. It should be working for everybody. If it's not, please let us know. It looks good on our end.
Will we need to get CPT from the company and your school? That's a very good question, and I direct all those questions to the ISS International Student Services Office on campus, because they are the experts, and you would follow them, because what may be true last month may not be true this month. They will be happily answer any and all your questions.
Just a follow-up on the CPT. If I'm in the process of working with the International Student Office applying for a CPT, can I do it? Can I apply to this in the meantime?
Yes.
Look, there's review, and if indeed, we also will send out a form if you are accepted into the program where you have to acknowledge acceptance. So if things work out and you do get accepted, but you can't because of something that's happening with your status, it's okay to decline. I mean, we're not onerous that way.
All right. So I only need to be in the process. I don't have to secure the assessment and CPT yet to be able to apply, right?
Sorry,
As long as you have that secure, I think I got you. As long as you have all of that secured by the time you've accepted the BBIP internship, you should be okay. But in order to apply, you don't need to have it secured right this second. Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And then did we answer that question? Is it okay if I'm planning to renew a contract for the fall with an organization I already interned with? The question is, had you received a stipend already with that organization?
Either from them or through BBIP. Yes, those questions would be important.
So that's if I can answer both ways. If you've already received a stipend and you want to reapply for BBIP at the same organization, you can certainly apply. I think Stephanie did mention that, we do take consideration to be as equitable as you can. Students that have not received a stipend and they may be a 3rd or 4th year, we would certainly consider that as opposed to someone who might have received 1 or 2 stipends in the past. If you have not received a stipend, but it's an organization where you worked prior, it's okay, because we haven't given you a stipend. You might not have been paid, as long as it's with the requirements of low pay or no pay.
These are all really good questions. Or anything else, please feel free to raise your hand or drop it in the chat. We're here. Anything else? Everyone's quiet on this 3rd day of class.
Everybody okay with the heat? All right.
All right, we won't hold you here by any means. This recording will go up on Beyond Barnard's YouTube certainly, and if you have additional questions, you can email Beyond Barnard at Barnard or myself or Greg. Please feel free to get in touch with us, and we look forward to reading your applications.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.